this move further strengthens Kenya's diplomatic and economic ties with China as both the nations continue to work together on various development projects under the framework of the Belt and Road Initiative. This agreement is seen as a step towards unlocking new avenues for investment and trade between the two countries with a focus on sustainable and mutual beneficial growth. All right, moving on. Tensions are rising in Macharia County after two rival factions of the Lutheran Church held separate swearing-in ceremonies for bishops leaving the diocese, with three competing leaders. Pastors at the church's Matongo headquarters blame National Presiding Bishop Dr. Joseph Ochola for deepening divisions and sidelining local congregation. The rift traces back to 2016, but has intensified intensified after Andrew Omondi and Bernard Nyakundi were installed in parallel events just 10 days ago. Clergy are now calling for urgent dialogue and reconciliation to further prevent damage to the church unity and credibility.
Yes, to come up and question any ill thing in the church is sidelined and condemned and even threatened with defrocking.
We as pastors of Macharia Diocese want to work together. We want to work harmoniously because we are serving Christians. We are not serving the head office. We are serving Christians, and these are the people who have put us here to lead them. So we are calling upon them to respect the work we are doing with our members, and we want them to desist from imposing their leadership on us, because the members have elected us, they have chosen us to be their leaders.
We call upon the Archbishop to embrace all the groups that have come as a result of his leadership problem. All functions should be recognized as CLCK members should be given all the privileges and opportunities alike. If not, then the amount of the church members to decide who should lead them. If our opinion is ignored as usual, then we shall deem it rejection from ELCK and shall take appropriate action to keep our church.
Now, tensions flared on the Marigat-Nakuru Road as angry residents blocked the busy highway early Thursday morning, by the killing of two people by suspected bandits. The unrest brought traffic to a standstill as demonstrators demanded swift justice for the victims. The residents, visibly distraught and armed with placards, burned tires and used stones to barricade the road, accusing the government of inaction in the face of the persistent banditry in the region. According to those at the scene, the slain individuals were ambushed and killed in yet another wave of violence that has plagued the county for years. Amid the uproar, the residents raised concerns over the reports that some citizens have been issued firearms. They claimed that this move may be contributing to the escalation of banditry in the area rather than offering a solution. The protesters directed their frustrations towards the Ministry of Interior, calling on Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen to intervene urgently and restore peace and security in the region.
Watu wa Mogotio mpaka Marigat, mandereva wote wako na shida. Ndio tukakucha tukasema ili maneno yetu isikike, tukakuja funga barabara. Sisi watu hapa hatuna kombe na mtu yote, tunataka tu haki ya huyo kijana ambaye aliuawa. Lingine mimi ningesema ya kwamba serikali ikiruhusu mwananchi awe na silaha, hii Kenya itaenda namna gani? Itaendaje? Kwa hivyo ningeomba serikali itoe bunduki yote yenye iko na raia, ili hii Kenya yetu ikae vizuri, tuwe na amani. Kwa sababu kila mtu, hata saa hii sisi tukisema tuko na uwezo ya kununua bunduki, lakini kwa sababu hatuna ruhusa, hatujapewa license ya kukuwa na silaha. Kwa hivyo tunaomba serikali pia hata waziri ya security asikie neno na Murkomen na afanye juhudi silaha inyang'anywe wananchi. Lingine, kuna wakati serikali walisema kuna tisama menaba chini, na watu human right, wakasema maneno ya disarmament hawataki. Sasa huyu jamaa ameuawa, mbona watu wa human right hawatetei yeye? Mbona hawatetei yeye? Mbona wanatetea walivu yenye anaua watu?
Ni venye mwenzetu mmoja wetu ameumizwa na kuuawa, ambapo hana chochote, gari si lake, na yeye alikuwa anapewa kazi, hana hatia yeyote. Hatujui mzozo yenye inaendelea huko ndani na kati ya hao watu yenye wanasema ni wafugaji na wanunuzi wa mifuko. Hatuwezi tuelewe ni makosa gani imetokea kati yao. Sisi ni madereva, unaambiwa enda namna hii. Ikiwa hii barabara tunaumizwa namna hii, tutaishi namna gani? Ama maendeleo ya nchi hii ya Kenya itaenda namna gani? Ikiwa tunauliza maswali kama hii, our CS of Interior Security alete majibu yeyote na ashughulikie hiyo maneno, tuelewe maneno na haki itendeke kuhusu huyu jamaa.
We are from banditry now and it has mutated to highway banditry. When these people are killed, we have made efforts and we are continuing to make efforts to ensure that the culprits are arrested.
All right, moving on. Outrage is growing in Kirinyaga County after 2 people lost their sight from consuming illicit brew earlier this week. The victims, now hospitalized, reportedly drank the toxic alcohol at a local joint. Residents now are demanding urgent action from Governor Anne Waiguru, calling for a crackdown on illegal brews and the revocation of licenses from individuals involved in their sales. The residents also demanded stricter enforcement of alcohol regulations and increased patrols to shut down unlicensed sellers operating across the county. Many believe that lack of proper oversight has allowed the illicit brew business to thrive, endangering lives.
Tujakaa sana kambura hatunjazika vijana tulizika katika eneo hili la Kangai kwa sababu ya pombe mbaya, sumu ambayo tuliletewa hapa. Siku ya leo pia tuko na watu ambao wako hospitalini kwa sababu ya kupewa pombe mbaya, wameturundia tena hata kambula roho zetu hazijapona. Nataka kumuuliza gavana, kwa sababu dogo anapeana leseni za wale ambao wanauza pombe, waweze kutathmini na kuhakikisha kwamba wanaopewa leseni wanauza pombe ambayo ni halali, ambayo haitadhuru watu wetu. Na serikali kuu pia ningetaka niwaambie hivi, uongozi mbaya hakuna wakati unafaidi wananchi. Tunajua tuna serikali kuu ambayo inafaa pia kuangalia maslahi ya wananchi. Na Waswahili husema kimbembacho kivunja nafuu kwa mchukuzi. Uongozi tulio nao saa hii ndio unasababisha vifo ambazo tunaona kwa sababu ya pombe mbaya. Ningeuliza wanaohusika wahakikisha ya kwamba wamemaliza hiyo pombe ili watu wetu waweze kuishi. Tumechoka kupoteza vijana wetu.
Na tunasema Governor Waiguru, kiendelea kupeana licenses za pombe haramu, tutashikana na watu wa Kangai wote. Na hiyo pombe tutaokota yote tukuletee kwako kwa nyumba mkunywe na watoto wako pia. Na tumechoka. Aya.
Mwanzo niseme ya kwamba ni makosa zaidi ya kwamba viongozi ambao wamechaguliwa wameshindwa kufanya kazi yao. Yaani serikali ya county ambayo imeongozwa na Gavana Waiguru, leseni wanapea vilabu ambazo zinauza pombe haramu. Hapa Kirinyaga County tumezika watu wetu. Tumewazika manake wameuziwa pombe haramu. Jana hapa Kangai tena watu wetu wameuziwa pombe haramu na sasa wameadhiriwa. Niwaambie wao walimpeleka Rigathi Gachagua ambaye alikuwa anapigana na pombe haramu nyumbani. Wakasema wanataka wamtume wa Munyoro. Basi kazi yake, manake walisema wataweza, waifanye sasa hivi. Hatutakubali kama viongozi watu wetu kuuziwa pombe haramu. Na nataka niambie county government wafanye proper audit ya vilabu zote ambazo ziko hapa Kirinyaga County. Wahakikishe kwamba hakuna klabu ambayo inauzia watu wetu pombe haramu. Na pia national administration wakianziwa na county commissioner hapa Kirinyaga County wahakikishe kwamba enforcement wanafanya. Kuna baa hapa zinafunguliwa 24 hours. Kuna baa hapa kutoka asubuhi hadi jioni hadi asubuhi wanauza pombe. Na wanauzia watu wetu, wanajua ya kwamba hiyo ni pombe haramu. County commissioner pia fanya kazi yake, asipofanya kila siku tutamwambia mpaka aondolewe hapa Kirinyaga County. Hatutakubali tena kama viongozi watu wetu kuliwa na pombe.
Now, poor internet connectivity has emerged as a leading challenge hampering the successful registration of residents to the Social Health Authority, that is SHA, in Baringo County, a region already grappling with a host of other barriers, including insecurity, harsh terrain, and poor infrastructure. Speaking during a SHA awareness training at Dandelion Health Center, Wendo Sara, Executive Director of the Dandelion Africa, highlighted that while the electronic communication health information system holds great promise for registering people under the SHA, limited network coverage in remote areas has significantly slowed down the process. In addition to technological setbacks, Sara pointed to long-standing insecurity issues such as cattle rustling and ethnic conflicts that prevent community health promoters from moving freely across the county.
Apart from that, we have a problem, especially in Tier 2 of the networks, that there are some areas where there are no networks. That's why the registration is a bit low. And we have also some officers who are not really committed in doing the registration for one reason or the other, but we are now reaching to them to scale up the registration or to up their game. And this is what we are going to address with their bosses here today. And we don't want to leave anybody behind, because we want to do a combined effort, the county government and the provincial administration. Why we are still registering low percentages on SHA is because of poor network. But now we are working with Safaricom to ensure that at least we have some promotion on networks on the lowlands of Baringo. When you look at the lowlands of Baringo, and that covers a bigger part or a bigger portion of our county. So at least we can say over 50% of Baringo does not have network coverage, and that has really affected the registration and the low percentages on SHA.
When it comes to training of community health promoters, there is gaps in terms of people's registrations because of the mistrust that communities have due to lack of awareness of how they can benefit from SHA. So today we have called upon stakeholders from across Baringo County, from ministers, directors, people in charge of community health strategy, to discuss how best can we ensure that we have 100% registration of SHA, number one. Number two, how best can we ensure that our community health promoters are better equipped to register households? And number three, how do we involve other stakeholders, including county commissioners, in ensuring that every household is aware about the benefits of SHA?
That we want to address is at the facilities level, because we want to attach a CHP to all our 280 facilities. Whenever a patient comes, they get registered there and then they also do the claims at the same time.
Now, Kenya's goal of planting 15 billion trees by 2032 could be in jeopardy unless universities step up. Experts now warn that the country is losing 900 billion Kenya shillings annually to climate change, with potential losses of 15 trillion Kenya shillings in the next 15 years. At the launch of the Institute for Sustainability and Climate, environmentalist Dr. Kalua Green called on institutions of higher learning to lead in climate education, innovation, and research. He adds stronger partnerships between academia, government, and the private sector to develop solutions and tap into the carbon credit market. Despite President Ruto's conservation efforts, including tree planting days, lack of follow-up has made it difficult to track progress. Experts say the time to work is now.
3 to 5% of our GDP is lost annually. You know what this means? It's easy sometimes to read statistics, but I want to bring it out. That bleed to the economy and its entire output, economic output, costs us about 870 billion Kenya shillings annually. This is strictly due to climate change. That's the cost of floods. That's the cost of droughts. That's the failed harvests, the lost jobs that we have lost in this country, the damaged infrastructure. If over the next 15 years nothing is done and nothing changes, we are looking at a loss of 15 trillion Kenya shillings. May sound just a number, but I dare say that this is enough to transform our entire nation. These are not just numbers. They represent the schools, the hospitals, the farms, and of course the futures. Climate change is not a luxury. I see a situation where we have education and capacity building on short courses that lead to PhD and much more training that is definitely required. I see great effort in research and innovation. I see green labs based on African solutions. You know, Africa, we are just unique. You realize that in January this year, it was the hottest ever recorded month in the history of this country. This year. We are here to ignite a movement because in April, in South Sudan, 705,000 people were displaced by floods. We are here to ignite a movement because in the same month in Ethiopia, 10 million people were terribly.
Now, the government has made significant strides in boosting enrollment in technical and vocational education and training, that is TVET institutions, with numbers rising from 375,000 to 600,000. Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Ogamba highlighted that ongoing sensitization campaigns and multi-agency efforts, including National Government Administration Officers, that is NGAO, are driving this success. Ogamba emphasized that TVET is no longer seen as a fallback option, but a path to meaningful careers, with 85% of students finding employment after practical training. The government is also investing in the sector with 8.5 billion Kenya shillings allocated and 5,500 new tutors to be hired. A modular curriculum will allow students to gain industry experience through short courses. The goal is to reach 2 million TVET students, a target Ogamba believes is achievable as the sector continues to evolve and meet the growing demand for skilled professionals.
When we started, we said it is possible to raise the numbers of our students, of our trainees, from the number that was there, which was about 375,000, to maybe even 2 million. So the 2 million figure was based on that number. And I am told, as of today, we are at almost 600,000. Please clap for yourselves. And therefore it is possible to achieve that 2 million number. Our education system was made in such a way that initially people thought the people who are going to do courses in TVET are failures. But that is not true, and that's not correct, and that's what we are here to change, that mindset. We need to remove from our parents, from our public, that TVET is for failures. It is not. And that's why this year, we know the cutoff point is C+. Out of the 965,000 students who did KCSE, only 246,000 got C+ and above. But when we opened the portal first in February for COOPs, we decided that let the people who want to go to TVET first be the ones to apply, because last year there was a clock, everybody applied and then the portal came down. As at the time we were opening the portal for university admissions, 8,100 and something students had applied to join TVETs. These are the ones who are qualified to join university, but they have made a conscious choice that they are going to join TVETs, which means again that TVETs are not for failures. I want us to work towards changing the mindset of Kenyans so that we are able to raise the TVET subsector to where it is supposed to be. There are issues relating to equipment. As I said, the PS is abroad, signing for the 70 institutions that we are supposed to get those equipment. But over and above that, we have done a paper to the government, and we are trying to have a policy in government where all the obsolete equipment that lie around the ministries, the Ministry of Health, you'll find there are some machines that are there, X-ray machines that have never been used. When you go to the parkings of various government departments, you will see motor vehicles lying there. When you go to the police, you will see some motorcycles lying there, and then they are sold for a sum as scrap metal. We are saying all those equipments should be redistributed to our TVET institutions for training purposes, so that we have the basics. You know, if you have a vehicle, somebody can learn mechanics, he can learn painting, he can know how to remove a door and return it, because you know, that kind of thing, so that we do not have necessarily to wait to get new equipment in order for us to be able to meet the equipment requirements of our institutions.
Now, the Kenyan government is ramping up efforts to support small businesses with a new policy aimed at addressing the challenges faced by this vital sector. Reynold Njue, the Executive Director of Planning in the Ministry of Trade, spoke about the new initiative, which is designed to guide stakeholders in offering technical assistance to small businesses across the country. Speaking at a public forum in Garissa, Njue emphasized that the government is taking proactive steps to overcome the hurdles that small businesses face. He explained that the new policy will create a conducive environment for small enterprises to operate smoothly, which in turn will boost the economy.
What have I done for my society? About the better MTP4 Vision 2030.
So the main agenda here today is, after the development of the Act, the Constitution requires that we undertake public participation to get views of the people on the Act, and that is why we are here today. The policy has been developed through a very consultative process, and a technical working group that worked on the policy identified various key challenges that affected the Act and the gaps under the previous policy that we are trying to come up with interventions and goals that we are going to support the MSME sector.
The participants are drawn from all sectors, that is from the business community, as well as government institutions and other institutions dealing with the issues or matters relating to investment. So ours is to encourage those who are not able to attend this function to look into that draft.
Now, the Kenya National Union of Teachers, that is NAT, has criticized a law that prevents teachers who are dismissed from receiving their retirement benefits. The union is calling for the repeal of the law, stating that it is unjust for teachers who have contributed to the pension scheme to be denied their dues after being terminated from service. Speaking at a meeting in Kilifi that gathered teachers from the county, NAT Secretary General Collins Oyu addressed the issue, urging that the law should not allow teachers to lose their hard-earned retirement benefits simply due to dismissal. Oyu pointed out that the reasons for dismissal should not be used as an excuse to withhold payments that teachers have invested in throughout their careers.
Our proposal as a union, when you are dismissed for whatever reason, your behavior has nothing to do with your benefits. You should be paid for the time you worked. And I want to repeat, benefits for a worker should not depend on the behavior of the worker.
Watu wengi wanajipata in trouble for lack of knowledge. Wakipata watu ambao watawaelekeza vizuri, you really have very few cases of indiscipline on our teachers. And this one we share with our head of institution, because they are the people oversighting our teachers.
We need your advice, your support, so that these teachers can execute their duties wholeheartedly for the betterment of the innocent child.
Now, moving on to the corridors of justice, former Migori County Governor Okoth Obado has continued to defend himself in the ongoing murder trial of his former lover Sharon Otieno with a series of statements on the second day of his testimony. In his defense, Obado testified that he ended his relationship with Sharon Otieno due to unreconcilable differences and not because of her pregnancy as previously suggested. He emphasized that while the relationship had started positively, it eventually deteriorated, leading to their separation. Obado further revealed that despite their breakup, he continued to support Sharon financially and emotionally, acknowledging that he had been expecting a child with her. He stressed that their split had nothing to do with the pregnancy, but rather stemmed from the breakdown in communication and mutual understanding. In his testimony, Obado also denied the involvement of his co-accused Michael Oyamo and Caspar Obiero in the murder of Sharon Otieno. He rejected any claims that they had participated in the planning or execution of the crime. Obado maintained his innocence and continued to challenge the accusations brought against him and his alleged accomplices. Sharon Otieno, who was 8 months pregnant at the time of her death, was brutally murdered in 2018, sparking national outrage. The trial, which has attracted significant public attention, is expected to continue as key testimonies and evidence are represented. Obado's defense would remain under scrutiny as the case progresses, with the former governor continuing to assert his innocence amidst mounting public interest in the high-profile case. All right, we shall be keeping tabs with that particular story and shall be bringing you in our subsequent bulletins at 4, 7, and 9 p.m. It is exactly 35 minutes past the top of the hour. And that's not to wrap up our bulletin here at EBN News at 1. My name is Macharia. Do have yourself a lovely day. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. And as always, let's meet again when God says we do.